Okay, welcome back. Today I'm going to jump into the Star Wars trilogy. Again, this is all relevant to my story of going back to buying an Amiga 500 Batman pack, which I have done, and we'll pick it up later on this year. But the whole story was how I went to the Computer Shopper Show in 1989, November of 1989, and purchased this wonderful pack, Batman pack, 10-star games pack. They're all separate videos, so feel free to look through those. But one of the other things we purchased, a couple of things, purchased a like a flight yoke or driving wheel controller, so that's relevant to today's video, called the Zuma from Eurotech. Really bizarre controller, look it up. They did them for the NES as well, but they did them for the Amiga and ST. If it looks like the most ugly controller you've ever seen, you've found the right picture. And also the Star Wars trilogy, which, funny enough, is also in this wonderful magazine that I repurchased from my trust. Because what we've got in here, oh, that was got the wrong way, is a wonderful, so this is 1989, a write-up of the release of this trilogy. So yes, the games themselves were already out, but this was a dual case trilogy set. So it's one dual case, nicely packaged up obviously, and 3 discs, 3 separate games: Star Wars, Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. And you could buy that. You can rebuy them now. I've seen them on eBay with a disc missing for like £68, and that's with a disc missing. I've seen them £80 to £100 in mint condition, and I've seen them cheaper than that as well. So yeah, just keep your eye out if you're interested in that kind of thing. But for me especially, because it's what I got that day, so it's a really important part of this quest, if you like. And today, the first game, I had tried to do these all in one video, so the whole trilogy in one video, but it really wasn't working, went for too long. So I'm going to do it as 3 separate videos. So you can go to whichever one and I'll do a separate Star Wars trilogy playlist, a sub-playlist if you want to call it that as well. So really cool. And these were games that we definitely, let's get into it and I'll chat as it loads up. So and because I did try and do this as one video, I have had a couple of stabs at this, so I do apologise. It's not the pure memory and emotion floodback as I'm trying to aim for, because I have played through these and just ran into some problems. So, and especially trying to make it one video, it was becoming a hideously long video. And there we go. Right, let's load the first game, Star Wars. And funny enough, one of the things I ran into, which is still to do with the memories, I was using an ADF file for Star Wars, and I was finding it just wasn't quite right. Like, the game was there, the shooting sound effects and everything were there, but I was expecting some other sounds, and I thought, nah, there was some voice samples, there was some explosions, there was different stuff that is missing. And that was a cracked version with a crack tro. And of course, every time they put a crack tro onto a game, well, something had to give. If the original game used the whole 880Ks, well, how do you get a crack tro on the disc afterwards? Well, something has to give, doesn't it? So in this instance, what they'd done was remove the sample just so they could make room for their own crack tro. But anyway, you know, it had its place. If it wasn't for that hacking scene, we wouldn't have access to these games now. So what I have done though is managed to chase down a version that has the samples that I was talking about. So now I'm going to be playing this with the mouse today, because I've definitely found recently, and I know back in the day that's sort of what I eventually lent towards was using the mouse. If you haven't played the game before, it will become obvious once we get into the game. Oh, here we go. But I just want you to keep in mind, okay, as this loads up, we had this stupid, ridiculous Zuma controller, right? Literally, you sort of, you know, pushed it forward to go, would have been to go down. There goes the music. And then pulled it back to go up. If you had that flight control set, or if you don't like invert, that's a whole other topic. And obviously left and right, and you had fire buttons at the top here. But keep in mind, it was digital, not analog, so it didn't matter how hard you pushed it, it was either on or off. You know, you turn it that far and you're steering, you turn it that far, well, you're still steering at the same speed. It's not going to, but your natural inclination is to push harder and harder and harder in the hope that you'll get somewhere quicker. It doesn't work like that. Why would you use it on a game like Star Wars? Well, because in the arcade, which I think is why my brother added it to this pack because he was keen to play it. In the arcade, that was the controller, so it was the best way to play it as close to arcade as you could, both for this and the game I'll do next, which is Empire Strikes Back. But I'll just say that controller didn't last long. If I ever get hold of one of those Zoomers from Eurotech, I'll do a sort of teardown and show you exactly what used to go wrong and how we used to fix it as well. But today, did you hear that sample? So that was what was missing, and I knew something was missing even after all these years. I'm going to go wave 3 because then you get, and I don't want to make these too long, then you get all of the stages, as it were, that you go through. Extra points for hitting Darth Vader's TIE Fighter there, obviously. Oh, terrible. Where's Darth? Where's Darth gone? There he is. Oh. So, look, we were big Star Wars fans, as I think most people were back in the day. Having this on that day one was great. We definitely played this the day we got the Amiga back. I don't know, it would have been a close tie between this and Batman as to what we actually played more on that day. Where's Darth gone? There he is. But this is just, even now, this just is just so playable. I love it. It's just awesome.
Look at the size of that thing.
That's what she said. Right. Then you've got the here we go. Take the tops off those ones. Yeah, it's just one of those games. You just sort of just keep firing, basically. How many mice did this knack around? I remember taking my, not on day one of course, but I do recall taking my Amiga mouse apart, and if memory serves me correctly, there was like a bent piece of metal over the two mouse button functions, held on by a kind of piece of tape. I don't know if that is the case, maybe someone can let me know, but I'm pretty sure that was the sort of mechanism. I remember playing about with something, re-bending a piece of metal or reapplying a piece of tape. I certainly did that inside a QuickShot 2 joystick, not the QuickShot 2 Turbo, because they went micro switch, but the original QuickShot and maybe the Cheetah 125. See me move my head then. It's the same stuff. You can't help. That shows you how much it draws you in, even with these wireframe graphics. Doing it again. Now this really, you just sort of go one side or the other and then just go up and down. That's sort of a trick from memory. And the thing when you're at the top or bottom is you can't then see your cursor, because basically if you center it, then you're centering your ship, so you're going to hit one of those things. I don't remember in the film there being a game of Tetris happening in the trench, but anyway. Shoot these? No, I thought you could.
You're all clear, kid. Now let's blow this thing and go home.
There we go. That just sort of fires itself. And so that sample was missing. And so was this sample. So all the samples were missing because of the crack tro on the cracked version.
Great shot, kid. That was 1 in a million.
It's always the way, if you get pirated stuff, you don't get the full experience. What do I want to say on this? Sorry, I'm going to play through this one more time and I'll try and add some memory. Like I said, huge Star Wars fans. This was great, and I mean, I'm going into something I was going to do it in a much later date. You know, I will go into some PC stuff because I have some memories there. And there's another collection I want to start putting together. X-Wing is what I'm trying to get to in my ramble with. X-Wing was phenomenal, and you know, keep all your Battlefront 1 and 2 and all that. In terms of the EA versions, you go back to X-Wing. That was such a cool simulator, and I'm sorry, all the modern stuff, they're games, whereas X-Wing was a space sim in the Star Wars universe. It was phenomenal. And look, I'd argue that, well, this kind of fits somewhere in between, because this is a very simplified game. It was an arcadey game. But also at the time, you couldn't imagine simulation being much better than this either. So this kind of did the job of both. It's a fun game to play, but it also is simulating what it would be like to pilot an X-Wing, which was great. And who didn't want a pilot in that scene? Who didn't want to be Luke Skywalker? Is it me, or when you were younger, you kind of empathised with Luke, obviously, and with the rebels. And now that we're all older, the cool thing to do is empathise with Darth Vader, which is a bit weird. And if you're a public servant, the cool thing to do is to sympathise with the Empire and just see the rebels as a terrorist organisation trying to create havoc throughout the universe. It's just so playable. It's still fun. And I'm actually glad I've had to do this 3 times because of the issues I was having with recording, because actually I'm now just sort of relaxing into it, if that makes sense, and getting back to playing the game how I would have done back in the day.
Use the Force, Luke.
The only thing missing is having my brother next to me, really. Which I must say, I suddenly realised I talk about my brother a lot because we got the Amiga together, we played quite a lot together, but I was more into it than he was. He's not dead or anything. It's just that he lives in the UK and I live in Australia, so we don't get to see each other very much. And he's, yeah. So I'll see him when I go back next year. I'll show him these videos and chat. Yeah, I just suddenly realised, in the way I talk about him in all my other videos and stuff, I thought people are going to assume he's passed away or something. It's not.
You're all clear, kid. Now let's blow this thing and go home.
There we go. So. Oh, you have to do it like that. That's right. You have to shoot the. This isn't my name, but this is the name I'm going to put in. You have to shoot the letters, that's right, to put your name in. So there we go, that's Star Wars. I won't waste any more of your time on this one. What did we get to? 12 minutes, it's not too bad. It seems to be the average. I'm aiming for 10 and they always seem to be 15 and 18. Thank you very much for watching this one, and I'll get straight into doing Empire Strikes Back next, which similar but different, and there's some things that come flooding back as to how you beat certain levels in Empire Strikes Back, so definitely check that one out. Alright, cheers guys. Thank you very much. No. That's what it's about. That's what it's about. What else we got? Non-remastered. Before the remastered ones, but still in widescreen because I was into them. And what else have I got? If you're still watching, these are the special editions, but the ones most people have are in gold, VHS, obviously. The reason these are silver is because these are the widescreen ones. And this wasn't a purchase that was intended. This was, I happened to be in a shopping centre, heard over the announcement, I wanted to buy these, heard over the announcement David Prowse was in one of the shops signing stuff. So I went in, Good Sammy's. Good Sammy's? No? Something like that. I went in and bought the widescreen and had David Prowse sign it. So there you go. Even if you look on eBay, these are worthless. So, there we go. Alright, bye.